Hello and welcome to another edition of Lab Rats. My name's Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
And today on the show, well, first of all, this show is about demystifying technology.
It is.
Helping people with technology problems that they haven't been able to solve on their own. So to that end, today on the show, we're going to show you, like if you've been an iPhone user, or if you love the iPhone, or your friend has an iPhone and they love a feature, and you're like, no, I want an Android phone. We're going to show you how all the iPhone features actually translate onto the Android phone, right? And what you can do to actually give it, to kind of fill in the holes.
Yeah, there are a growing number of Android users out there that are having exactly this problem. It's just like, how do I get to do that same sort of app? And they're like,
Don't know. Well, we have 10 apps for you that actually give you the full iPhone experience, or at least maybe not the full iPhone, but certainly an equivalent iPhone experience on your Android handset. And the reason we bring this up, of course, is because Android's the fastest growing smartphone platform at the moment. You know, it's been overtaking Apple in terms of the number of units sold. You know, it's a very popular operating system. And I think if you're out there and you don't have an iPhone, you don't have a plan to get an iPhone, the chances are you're going to have an Android phone in your hand if you don't already. So we really want to kind of give you that experience of, well, how can I have an equivalent experience with my Android phone, because you kind of deserve it, right?
yeah, I think this might be what's stopping a lot of people from making the move too. If they thought, I want to move to an Android, which I know you've talked about,
Yeah.
but I don't know what apps to use. I don't want to lose all my apps. I don't want to lose my Angry Birds.
Well, to that point, I just ordered a Nexus S.
Oh.
So
Oh, you're becoming one of them?
could be
Okay.
happening pretty soon.
Well, this show's for you then.
It is for me, absolutely. All right, so let's take a break. When we come back, we have filling in the holes of your Android phone so you get the full iPhone experience. Today on
Lab Rats.
Welcome back to Lab Rats. So before we get started, of course, we want to have a chat briefly about our favorite sponsor, Hover.com. And of course, Hover.com being one of our sister companies that does web domain registrations. This is a company, and if you were looking for a .com, a .tv, a whatever it is, these guys can provide it to you and do it really nicely. They have a great interface. We actually, one of the things that I really like about Hover is the way that they let the end user manage their domains. They have this really nice, clean, white interface.
Yeah, you see some of the other control panels out there, and they're just gigantic thing with a bunch of knobs and switches and like 16,000 options. It's just impossible to figure out where you're going.
That's right, yeah.
So.
And they do a lot, you know, they explain how to do the things very simply. They have really great tutorials on how to move your domain or change your domain or, you know, those kinds of things. And I think they have pretty girls on their website as well. But not so pretty that they're in bikinis and it's kind of nasty, but just like, you know, girls next door.
It's tasteful.
It's very tasteful.
It's tasteful.
Eliza Bain is one of their spokespeople, one of our old friends, so we love her. Yeah, so go check it out, you know, Hover.com, and make sure you check out their help section too, before, you know, even before you buy, because you want to know, you know, what are you getting yourself into. The other nice thing about these guys is if you get stuck with a domain, you have a question, you want to transfer or whatever it is, you can just pick up the phone and call them, and they'll actually answer the phone. Right? There's none of this wait on hold for you to have 17 minutes. You've been on set. Please stand by. Your call is really important to us. Well, if it was really important, you'd pick it up, for God's sakes, right? So these guys actually pick up the phone. There's no waiting. There's no hold.
Novel.
It's novel. It is crazy, isn't it? Really, if you think about it. So we highly encourage you to check these guys out. We're both customers, of course, ourselves. And Zabon over there, use this coupon code right here for 10% off. Right now, just so you can get a sense of them. Just buy one domain if you just want to try them out. You know, it doesn't no harm, no foul in that. But we'd highly encourage you actually to have this personal names function too. So if you want, you know, your name at yourlastname.com, they have that feature as well. So you might want to check that out as well.
Yes, but press pause. Press pause right now so you don't miss the rest of this episode if you're going to go do that now.
That's true.
You should do it now, but press pause.
Okay, there you go. All right, so that's Hover.com. Check it out. And let's move on with the show.
All righty.
Good. So, so you've may have heard of iPhone. You have a friend has an iPhone. You might even have an iPhone. You think about switching over to an Android phone.
I got one right here.
Got one right there. You want to know, you know, what the key differences are. You know, whether you're going to be stepping into a world where you don't get the nice features on your iPhone on your Android. Well, you know what? The good news is there's actually more freeware apps today for the Android platform than there are for the iPhone.
Yes.
True fact. Right? It happened. I saw a news bulletin on it the other day. So, really. Very easy to find a freeware solution, you know, for the problems that you have on the phone.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me for some reason, because the Android open source experience sort of lends itself to a bunch of people and developers who've got that, you know, the long hair, free love kind of thing, where they're just going to give their stuff away. And the fact that there's a lot of freeware out there does not surprise me at all because of that.
Right, good. Well, let's start with a really handy utility. It's called the iPhone Top 100 Charts. This is an application where it sort of lists all the top 100 apps on the iPhone, and then shows you, as you can see right here, whether or not there is actually a replacement for it or an equivalent. So as you can see right here, like Sean's just showing it, see that it says Turbo Grannies. There is actually a Turbo Grannies version for the Android app.
Yeah.
For the Android phone.
Yeah, so all of these, as you can see, is these are basically pulling from the top 100 over at the iTunes store right now. You've got the top free and you've got the top paid, and you can see in those lists of the top apps there, as you said, whether there's one available.
So if there's an X, it means there's none, and you can actually, if you put your finger on that, on one of those X's there, Sean, it'll show you an option to...
Did I just do the Grannies one? Oh, there we go. So that's the Grannies. That's one that is available, and it takes you straight to the store and allows you to download it
right away from the marketplace.
Right. So if it doesn't actually have one, though, like Office Jerk, for example, we'll tap on that, and it gives you an option here to actually contact the developer and say, hey, write one for the Android.
I love your app, please can I have it? Or there's an add to my wish list here, and that basically allows you to put it in a holding pattern and say, I want this, and then if one is announced and entered into this database, they'll actually notify you, hey, you know, now there's an Office Jerk for the Android, and here's where you can get it from.
Right, and you'll see as well, there's the ones that say they have it and the ones that don't, but then there's these ones right here that have the little arrows on them, and what that indicates is, well, there's not an exact version of this for this particular app by this developer, but here's one that they consider an equivalent version of that app that will do the same sort of thing, duplicate the functionality.
So similar.
Similar.
And we're going to show you some of those kinds of things actually deeper in our list as well. So there you go. That's the iPhone Top 100 charts. So check that out. That's free, by the way, so free to you. Next one, of course, is, you know, I'm really passionate about the program Navigon on my iPhone. So lots of navigation apps, of course, for the iPhone. TomTom's got one, Garmin's got one. There's a bunch of different ones. I like Navigon. And it's a $60 application. So the question is, if you move to the Android phone, and I'm really concerned about this, you know, is there a Navigon equivalent?
Well, here's the thing about the iPhone versions of those apps. They all exist because on the iPhone itself, while they have a Maps application and the ability to get directions, they don't have turn-by-turn directions in the free version of the app. So all of these companies that have made their bread and butter out of putting GPSs into your car as hardware decide, okay, let's do versions for the iPhone that do roughly the same thing. Because the iPhone didn't do that. Well, guess what? There's one built right in.
There's one built right in. It's free.
You don't even have to think about downloading this because it should already be on there.
And that's called Google Navigation.
It's called Navigation. So we've got it here, and say we can speak the destination as to where we want to go. We can type it in, so we can say, speak the destination here. We'll just tap on that. 96 Mowat Avenue, Toronto. And then it'll...
Mullet Avenue.
Well, for people that play hockey, you can go there. So, but anyways, you see it. It will look for what you say. You might want to type it in just in case it
actually
has
found.
But it did find that. So, but now it'll tell us how to get there. It'll give us this, and once we start moving, it'll start giving us directions. It'll give us audio cues as to where to turn next.
That's very cool. Good
so
stuff.
That one's free. Don't have to pay for it, and there it is.
Gotta like that, right? Free is always good. It saves you $65 right there.
It does.
All right, number 3, there is an app, of course, called iTunes. Well, there's an app called iTunes, and there's also, of course, a program called iTunes. And this is a program that allows you to manage your media and your songs and get your apps and things like that on the Apple side of things. There's a product similar to this that allows you to do the same thing for the Android called Double Twist.
Right. So there are some music management things available for the Android, and you can play music on the Android natively, but part of the problem is that you may already have your iTunes library on your computer, you may have a bunch of other stuff on there, or you may not be able to get at all the music you think you should have on that phone, so you put it somewhere and now your music program can't find it. So Double Twist is an application on the Android phone itself that will search the phone for all of your music. It can look for it on the cards, it can look for it inside the phone itself. But it also comes with a client that you can put onto your computer that will interface with your iTunes library there and allow you to actually sync it over to your phone. So you can actually put your iTunes library over here using the Double Twist app. So not only does it find your music here, it can also play it as well. So it actually functions as a music player as well.
It's a really good media player with it as well.
It is a good media player as well. So yeah, some people are saying that it's actually a better player than the other ones that you have on the phone. So not only does it find it and allow you to sync to your computer using that little transfer back and forth, but it actually plays it as well and does it really well.
Very good. Okay, and now that has a free. These all everything we're mentioning here has a free version. Some of them have upgrades, so the Double Twist actually has a premium version that you can actually pay for. So you can opt for that if you want.
Yeah, double check our notes for a link to both of them, so you can see what you get when you pay extra money, of course.
Okay, good. All right, so so the next app is, are you familiar with a program called Instagram?
I am.
Or Hipstamatic on the iPhone?
I am. Things that allow you to be a hipster with your photos, take a photograph and make it look like an old school Polaroid or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So they're really kind of cool, like photo enhancement tool, right? So on the Android phone, there's a product called PicPlease, or PicPliz.
PicPliz.
But it's,
it's
PICPLZ or Z if you're in America.
Yeah, lol speak or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Or text speak. Let's call it text speak.
Text speak. Okay, good. So that gives you like effects. It allows you to sort of take an existing photograph and enhance it, whatever. So you want to check that out. Okay. That is also free, and we like free, of course.
I'm going to take a quick picture of you here,
like
so.
Demo it.
Sure. I took a picture of you. Well, I caught you just before you grinned, but there we go. And then we can.
I'm upside down.
Have you upside down. Sorry, man. Hope you're not too dizzy.
That's me in Australia.
So there we go. So we've got that picture. We'll hit OK. And then we can do a few effects here along the side, so we can make you all sepia and such. So
it's like in the olden days, back when I was doing lab rats, back in the old days.
Oh, there we go. We should have some old-timey piano music here. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, so there you go. You get the idea. It's pretty much the same effect as you had on those other apps that we talked about for the iPhone.
Very good. All right, so you know on the if we go on the iPhone, if you play music, of course, you have the iPod player. It's now the iPod once upon was a piece of hardware, and it still is, I suppose. But on your iPhone, it's actually an app. So the iPod app allows you to play your music, and the equivalent we found is called Ark Media.
Yeah, and this one actually does not only your audio, but it does videos as well, and it actually has a whole pile of codecs that it supports that wouldn't be done on the iPhone inside the video player in there. So part of the problem with the Apple is they tend to lock this down fairly hard in some cases, and okay, we'll play Apple approved codecs like QuickTime, and we'll play maybe the one for your Apple TV. But Windows Media, get out of here. We're not playing that. Something like Ark Media here will actually play all of those different types of formats.
WMV.
Yeah, it does DivX, WMV, VOB files, Matrushka video files. So all of the popular formats that are out there, well, almost all the popular formats out there, it will play on here.
Wow, that's pretty good.
So
more powerful than the iPhone.
Yeah, so we've got a list right here. It's pulling in from the card, and we can play the videos in from that card as well. So you can just see all of the different things that are there. So.
Very good. That's called Ark Media. There's an upgrade for that one as well. So that's the free version, and of course an upgrade for the more premium version of it. So
yeah, extra features
available on the Android market. Okay, good. Moving on. Google Listen. Google Listen, of course, is the equivalent to your iTunes app on the iPhone, right?
Yeah, it's a podcatcher basically. So with Android, there wasn't anything built in that would allow you to search through podcasts and download them straight to your phone and check them out there. So the folks here with at Google Labs put together Google Listen, which actually searches out there for all of the places that keep track of what podcasts are where the feeds are, and all of that, and then pulls that in here so you can search. So I'm going to do a quick search here for Lab Rats. I'll do this. Oh, actually, it's already up here. And we'll just tap that, and it'll go out there and look for Lab Rats, and there we go. So it can pull in specific episodes here, as we can see. So we've got episode 249, going back to the Mac. That's, I think, when we were talking about your experience 6 months in. So we see this one application, or this one episode, obviously, but then we see links under here. We can add it to the queue, but we also have an option for more episodes here, and we can also subscribe. So if we want to subscribe to this on here, we'll just
Which you, of course, would. You would absolutely subscribe, right?
Yeah, so there we go. We have...
we could not be complete without your dose of Lab Rats.
There was a few other things in there, so I think I hit the wrong one, but then we'll hit subscribe. And then there we go. Now we're subscribed to Lab Rats.
Very good.
Which is a really good idea.
It's a great idea, so make sure you do that, even if you haven't. All right, moving on. The next app is called Google Chrome to Phone. Now, Google Chrome to Phone is, so you're familiar with the Google Chrome, the web browser you can install on your Mac or your PC, right? So if you're browsing the web, you want to, you find a link that you like, or you've got a link to a maps location you've got or whatever, and you want to get it quickly to your phone. So you install a little app on Google Chrome, and you install the Google Chrome to Phone app on your Android, and basically it pushes it across so that you have access to it on your phone right away. So it's just a great way to move a long URL from one place to another, right? Yeah. Handy little app, just one of those things that bridges the world between the desktop and the phone, which is great.
Yeah, the thing I like in this too is if any users out there have used Boxy and have used the watch later functionality, they're seeing something in their web browser and they want to watch that on their Boxy box later while they're sitting with a bucket of popcorn. They just press watch later on their browser and it pushes it upstream, and then Boxy box drags it down. So similar sort of concept. One pushes it up and it comes down over here.
Very good. Okay, good. Now we've all text messaged before. I assume that you have at some point text messaged.
Once or twice.
Once or twice a million. So, of course, text messaging completely capable on Android phones, but we found a really cool kind of text messaging app on steroids called Handcent SMS. So you want to check this out. This is really cool. Gives you SMS, of course. You can send images, like MMS images and that sort of thing. You can put all kinds of skins on the actual client itself. What else can you do, Sean?
A whole pile of smileys on here, extra little features on here. So basically, a lot of the things you'd want to do in your SMS that you don't have the capability of doing using the basic one that comes with your phone is all right here. So,
and for those of you wondering, SMS, a short messaging service, actually, the official tech term for text messaging, of course. All right. Now this next one is really interesting, I think. So of course there is a keyboard, a soft keyboard, like there is a soft keyboard on the iPhone. You're going to type it out by touching characters on the screen. This is an enhancement to the keyboard called Slide It or Slide. Is it Slide It or Slide IT?
Probably Slide It.
Slide It?
Slide It.
Slide It. Okay.
Yeah.
So Slide It soft keyboard. This basically replaces the keyboard throughout all the applications where you're using a keyboard on the Android phone and allows you to use gestures, right, Sean?
Right. So when you're typically using your keyboard on any device, you're going tap, 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 tap. With the Slide It keyboard, they've decided, okay, well, let's take some of that hunting and pecking out of it. So you just take your finger, leave it on the screen, and just sort of slide it back and forth to the places where the keys should be that you want to hit.
Okay.
And then it pulls a word out of what you've just done.
So you it or Sean, basically S-E-A-N.
Yeah. The longer words can be a little bit easier because then you're just and then there you go. So as long as you're hitting the keys, or that your endpoint is sort of where they should be, then it can be pretty good at guessing where you're supposed to be. So.
Right, good. And this is another app that actually has a free version and a premium version as well. So you want to see what the premium enhancements are if you want to pay a couple of bucks extra on the Android market.
Yeah, and this is one of the really nice things about Android as a platform is that it actually allows you to just say, I don't like the keyboard, chuck it. Let's put a new one in there.
Yeah. Can't do that on the iPhone.
Can't do that on the iPhone.
No, you can't. All right. Final one. I'm a big fan of finding places that I want to go when I'm like out and about. So if I'm driving in my car, I want to find a dry cleaner. I want to find, a great restaurant, a great Chinese restaurant, whatever. I love the proximity apps out there like Yelp and Urban Spoon, things like that. So I use that a lot on my iPhone, and so was really excited to see that there's a product called Google Places, which does something very similar here.
Yeah, so you can see, you can find places, and right now it's giving us a few categories here, so we can look for restaurants or coffee or a bar. Let's do restaurants and just see what pops up here. And there we go. So school, bakery, and cafe just down the street, which I know it's over there.
And we go there often.
Yeah,
at least I
so
do.
one thing that we've noticed here is that it isn't updated as regularly as it should be, obviously, because No Regrets is not actually there anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But a lot of the other ones that we've seen on this list are still in the neighborhood. So, and then the nice thing is we can say, okay, I want to get to Maro, and then we'll tap on it, and then we'll have the option actually to get there. We'll get more information, then have the option to call it from here or navigate to it.
Very good. That's brilliant. Does it interface with Google Navigation? Do you know?
Yeah, it looks like it uses the navigation substructure to take you there.
Good. There you go. So that's it. It's 10 apps that sort of fill in the holes for in your Android experience, so you get the iPhone or better experience, which is
Yeah,
great.
in some cases a lot better.
Really impressive. All right. So let's take a break. When we come back, we have your clip of the week as well as your pictures. That's after this. Welcome back to Lab Rats. Well, of course, up next we have our clip of the week. And you remember a little earlier on I said, that there are more free apps on the Android side than there are on the iPhone side.
I remember you flapping your lips about something like that.
I did. I said that. Now, the reason I know that is because I watch Android Weekly, which is a show that we do with Andrew Moore Crispin. He's been doing it for, I don't know, several months now. This is sort of a weekly news show about what's hot in the Android world. So this week, or recently anyway, he did a show and mentioned the fact that there are more free apps on the Android side than there are, and did a little segment on it. So that's how I know. I've been informed about the Android world thanks to Android Weekly, so you guys should be too. So I'm going to show you a little clip of actually where that little quote came from, so you can get a sense of the show and check it out. And then maybe you want to subscribe and check that out on an ongoing basis if you're interested in the world of Android.
Do it.
So
do it.
So let's take a look.
Welcome to On Deck. I'm Matt Harris.
Hi, I'm Jay Goldman.
Welcome to the A-List.
Hi, welcome to Miss Download.
Netflix is not new on Android. I've had it for at least a couple of months. Not sure why though, it's proven itself completely useless given that until recently it couldn't stream video. Now Netflix is officially here and working, at least if you own a Nexus 1 or a Nexus S or a select few HTC phones. Specifically the HTC Evo 4G, G2 or HTC Incredible. The update is also US only, so if you meet this rather exacting criteria, hit up the Android market and grab the app. It's pretty standard stuff for Netflix. Play any movie or TV show from the streaming service, pause and resume, or even pick up where you left off on another device. Cutting edge, assuming you never use Netflix on an iOS device.
Well, if you want to see the entire episode of that, zip on over to cyberwalker.com. No, that's my old site.
Living in the past.
That's right. butterscotch.com/Android Weekly. You can also actually access it at androidweekly.tv as well, so be sure to use that if you like. But we'd love to see you at either place. Subscribe, watch the show, enjoy it. Andrew has lovely hair and he's a handsome man, so really that's part of the experience as well.
Okay.
Apparently. All right, so let's get on to pictures, which is my favorite time of the show.
All right, well, we got two for you today.
Good, two pictures.
There you go. Some people have been listening to us and sending them in. So there may be a bit of a backup here as we we've said before, we tape in batches. So if you've been waiting for a bit, don't worry, it's coming up. So now we have a couple for you today. Start clearing out that queue. We have Laurie from Newark in the UK, and we saw Laurie before, and he was at the bar. And
yes, he was.
And Laurie, I don't know if he's at the bar here, but he's carrying a beer. Was that a Boddington's?
He's at home. He has a nice can of Boddington's, which is, I have to say, is one of my favorite beers of all time.
There you go.
So nice cream ale there.
So Laurie, next time you send a picture in, we want to see something different in your hand, not another beer.
No, we don't. No, we want to see two beers.
Two beers? Okay.
That's right.
Well, I was going to suggest an intervention. He's going to suggest just diving in.
Absolutely. So. All right. Yay, Laurie. Go, Laurie.
All right.
Good stuff. That's great.
So thank you for sending that in, Laurie.
Awesome.
Beer or no. Next, we have one from our friend Alexandra, who's in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And he took this one underwater.
And nobody's trying to drown him here?
Nobody's trying to drown him. He's giving the thumbs up. So
right,
there's a bit of someone's backside and the other side. I don't know. Maybe we should have cropped that one out.
We should do an episode on cropping pictures.
Yeah, so the one thing that Alexander said to us in the email he sent in is he wants to actually come to Canada because he wants to go curling.
And I want to go to Sao Paulo, Brazil because I want to go and look at girls in bikinis.
We have some of those here, just not as often as in Brazil.
Less frequently, yeah, that's true. It's too cold.
Anyways, just of all the things, all the reasons to come to Canada, curling.
Well, it's an adventure, right? It's like throwing rocks on ice. Like, well, what a novelty. I mean, if you're in Sao Paulo, Brazil, like, what are the chances? It must be exotic.
I guess. Although,
personally, I think it's a moronic sport, but,
Hey, now.
I know what I do. It's like you're throwing rocks on ice. But anyway, it's adventurous.
It's like shuffleboard for people with big ice patches.
With people like Laurie with beers.
Yeah, but you know what? Our friend Patrick Norton from Tegzilla, he's got a thing for curling as well. In fact, he's gone out of his way to circumvent geo-restrictions on streams so that he can actually see Canadian TV with curling in it. So, I don't know, Alexander, maybe you're on the right track here. I don't get it myself, but...
Curling's an exciting sport, really. No, it is. It's an Olympic sport, which is great, so I totally get it. But
yeah.
Of all things to do in Canada, curling is not high on my list. But hey, I'm here, so I probably take it for granted, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, that was really good. So so thanks for sending those pictures in, guys. Forgive our commentary, just being jerks. In fact, I think people like the commentary more than they like the pictures themselves sometimes.
Maybe.
They do. I got an email recently. I love that. You guys are hilarious. If you would like to send your picture, or your video even, to us, for us to comment and be morons about it, you can email us to at...
Grab a rock, carve a handle into it, and throw it down your ice rink at labrats.tv.
Or, more simply,
feedback@labrats.tv.
Feedback@labrats.tv. It's really good. All right. That was a lovely episode this week. Thank you for your support in that. You're becoming quite an Android expert, even though you're like an iPhone devotee.
You gotta know the enemy.
You got to know the enemy, exactly.
I'm still not convinced I'm not going to Android eventually. But
What if I bought you one, I expensed one? Would you switch?
we'll talk.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for tuning this week. You know, it'd be foolish for us to be here explaining how to fill in the holes in your Android phone if you weren't out there going, I have an iPhone and I'm thinking about going to Android. My name's Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
And we'll see you next time.
Are you ready? Try this at home.
Everybody ready? And excited? It's kind of exciting. All right.